2020 is a year that has not been kind to many of us, but those of us that have faith know that it will absolutely be okay in the end. So hang in there until it is, and I wish you all the best.
Hi, I'm Dr. D.
Hi, I'm Julia Hayden, aka Princess Gaia.
Hi y'all, I am Alex Terrell Russell. Happy Women's Entrepreneurship Week. I'm thrilled to be here with you. Thank you, McMurray University, for having me. I'm going to answer a few of the entrepreneurship students' most asked questions. I am Alex Terrell Russell. I am an entrepreneur in Abilene, Texas. I am the co-founder of Jar Land Investments with my husband, Justin Russell. Jar is Justin and Alex Russell. I am 29 years old. I have a young son named Doss Theodore, and I am thrilled to be here talking with you today about women's entrepreneurship. I love this Abilene community. I love the higher education that the minds that it brings into our community. I love the creatives and the young people that come together to really bring us synergy, to give us all hope and new spaces and new products and new design to really make our lives a better place. And all of that comes out of an entrepreneurial spirit. So thank you for having me, McMurray University. Happy Women's Entrepreneurship Week 2020. 2020 cannot cancel women's entrepreneurship, right? It cannot cancel everything good. So thank you again for having me. Thank you for watching this today. I am thrilled to share a little bit of my story with you. I started in business, in the family business. My grandmother started a restaurant in 1980, a barbecue restaurant. That was after she pursued her nursing degree while having young kids, and then started a nursing consulting business around the rural communities that we live in. She realized in the 80s that they weren't getting, as they're still not widely, adequate health care. So my grandmother, with her registered nursing degree, bought a van and started going around to our hospitals, our rural hospitals and healthcare clinics, and giving them advice and seeing patients who wouldn't be seen otherwise. So in 1980, she met a young county commissioner who had always dreamed of owning a barbecue restaurant, so they opened a barbecue restaurant. And 30 years later, I got to go to college debt-free. I got to pursue my dreams of, being in organized clubs and having unpaid internships because of what my grandmother did with her entrepreneurial spirit. So she invested that in me, and I feel really lucky to be living in this time that we're in because, with all of the tools and resources that she gave me that are really intangible, we have the technology and the resources and information now to really practically apply those things, right? And I just can't wait to see what I'm going to do and what all of you are going to do with that wisdom and that experience and that knowledge that's been handed down to us, and then put it into this world that we're in now that can really make things happen on a scale that I don't think we could have ever imagined even a few years ago. I came back to Abilene when I was 22 years old. I graduated from Texas Tech University. I went to the University of Tennessee my freshman year after graduating high school in Nashville. My parents split up when I was in middle school, so I feel really lucky to have grown up both in Nashville, Tennessee and Abilene, Texas. My parents were very young when they had me, so I had a lot of family around to love on me, and I really got to split my year between the two places. And I say that because I think it's an important part of my story. Now I rely, so much of my success is built on perspective and gaining every perspective I can get my hands on, listening to every story, talking to every person, saying yes to every meeting. I won't ask you to say yes to everything because I believe in self-care. I really think that we have a long way to go in mental health and what that means in business, but I think that saying yes to every meeting you can get your hands on from at least the age 18 to 30 cannot hurt. I'm only 29, so I'll let you know how much longer I keep saying yes. But I know for the last 7 years it's been absolutely imperative to my success. I'm 29 years old, and since coming back to Abilene last 7 years, I've been voted Young Professional of the Year. We're a community of about 120,000 with, again, 4 to 5 higher education institutions. That's a huge honor. Abilene Professional of the Year. I've been president of the Abilene Young Professionals Organization. I currently sit on the Abilene Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I have with McMurray University's Entrepreneurship Director, Mr. Duncan Pelly. I have started a nonprofit, that helps put our homeless neighbors back to work. I've opened my own restaurant with my husband. I've started a political design company. I've ran the mayor's campaign, the first Black mayor elected to that office in Abilene. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I have done every single one of these things by saying yes to one meeting. The current mayor, Mayor Williams, and I did not know each other when the Chamber of Commerce asked me to introduce their keynote speaker for their Top 20 Under 40 ceremony that year. They asked me to introduce her because she was a friend of my grandmother's. I had no idea what I was doing or what I should say or who even would be in the room, really, but I said yes, and I wrote a 3-minute speech. I sent it to the Abilene Chamber of Commerce secretary, who I had formed a relationship with, because I asked her to proofread it. I was really, really nervous, y'all, but I said yes, and the then councilman, Anthony Williams, was sitting in the crowd. He was secretly planning a run for mayor that following year. Our incumbent mayor was retiring after a very long run. So he and others were really actively thinking about pursuing the office. He heard me speak at that meeting, hadn't really heard of me before, didn't know my grandmother well, and he asked me for coffee. I was supposed to be out of town the day that we were gonna have coffee for a friend's bachelorette party, and there was something about me at 22 years old that decided that I should probably say yes to this man. I'm not sure what, but I moved my flight back just a few hours, and I had coffee with Councilman Williams. He asked me to run his campaign for mayor that year, and I said yes. And it's launched me into every opportunity that I have now. It's afforded me, some credibility at a very young age, and it's afforded me some opportunities to do some things that I wasn't ready for, which is a whole other experience. I truly hope that you all succeed in everything that you do, but I have a feeling that won't be the case. And I hope that you learn from your mistakes. I hope you learn from your bruises. And I hope you don't make the same mistakes twice, because saying yes to something that you failed at is not a failure. It's an experience, it's an opportunity, it's an education. It's truly an education. So I hope you all say yes to as many meetings as you can at this age in your life, and really pursue those things that you're passionate about, and don't be afraid to take something on before you're ready. If you're religious, I hope that you stay in prayer actively throughout your days. That's something that will never lead you in the wrong direction. I am actively in my life right now praying for doors to open and close, and that's because I think it's important for me to really feel in my core, in my spirit, in my soul, good about what I'm doing. Now that I've said yes for so many years, I want to say yes to the things that I know I can really serve well. So, but I had to figure those things out, and I'm still figuring those things out. I hope to always be figuring some of those things out, but I'm honing in on a few specific areas now, so I think it's important to stay in prayer in those areas. So now I've just actually today, September 1st, launched, it's just an Instagram right now with 4 girls behind it from Texas who are passionate about bringing kind conversations to our community about issues that we feel are important to our generations. So, being in Abilene, Texas, there's obviously a touch of ruralness to our landscape, and in history that's meant that information didn't get to us as quickly. That's not the case now, by any means. So as young people living in this community, we're trying to really actively engage in conversations, not that you have to agree or disagree with, but that you really, we think are important to be aware of. If for anything, so that we don't fall behind, because where you live now does not mean that your opportunities are less. We can live from anywhere, we can work from anywhere. Our generation I'm a millennial and I'm obsessed with you Gen Zers. I think if you're an undergrad right now, then you're probably a Gen Zer, and if you're not, more power to you, rock on. But I think most of you are probably Gen Zers, and you are our future. You are our future. So stay on fire, and I hope that at 29 years old, you're as proud of the person you are as I am. It's taken a long time to get here, but my businesses, my work, my community volunteering, my passions are what keep me going every day, and I hope that you find the same in yourself. So right now I'm really lucky to be surrounded by my husband and my son, to have 3 thriving businesses that we really enjoy giving ourselves to every day. But more than anything, we employ people that I never thought I'd get to work around, and that is something we give back to their families. They take home dignity and paychecks, and that's what entrepreneurship does, especially if you're faithful in your prayer and yourself and your care for those around you and your communities. Okay, number 1, advice for young entrepreneurs. I feel really lucky to get to work with and interact with young entrepreneurs every single day. My biggest advice is pray, meditate, find your core self, do whatever it takes to chase that, to find it, and then pursue it relentlessly. Okay, is Abilene special? This context is the question of, is Abilene special for young budding businesses and starting an organization? Absolutely. Abilene is special, and we have a uniquely low cost of living for Texas and the United States in general. We have 4 incredible higher learning institutions. We just lost our culinary school, but that was around creating a creative energy downtown forever. They hope to reopen it soon. Abilene is uniquely positioned in Texas. We're in the very center. You can get to any of our big hubs in 2.5 hours or less. That provides so much opportunity. We have a lot of space. God's not making any more land. We have a lot of land around here, which is incredible for young entrepreneur investment. Something that I'm really trying to get people our age to look into and really hear me on is investing in land, y'all. And Abilene has a lot of it. So Abilene is absolutely special for young entrepreneurs. Please come see us. The plus and minuses of being a woman. I think this question is also put in the context from the students as, what do I have to deal with that my male counterparts might not have to deal with, and what have been the advantages that maybe they haven't had? And everyone fights their own battles, and everyone shows up to their day struggling with something or pursuing something. Most of the time it's probably both. So I think in being a woman, my advantages have been much more. We just seem to be a little bit more mindful, ladies. We seem to have a deeper train of thought. We seem to really think things through. I know in all the rooms I'm in, the women in the room are the ones asking the hard questions and having the really tough conversations. We're never afraid to do that. I think we bring another level of nuance and detail, consideration. I think that the advantages of being a woman way outweigh the disadvantages. I know that as a woman it can be very hard to speak up in some of those rooms. It can definitely be intimidating. We don't get the credit we deserve in most of the rooms, but that's okay. A lot of people don't, right? So keep using your voice. If you're in a room, it's because you're supposed to be there. So speak up and let your advantages really outweigh the disadvantages that you're going to face being a woman. Balance. Last year when I was lucky enough to be with you on Women's Entrepreneurship Week, I had a 6-week-old, I believe. So balance is a new thing for me. Yoga is everything to me. I mean, physical balance and everything else it plays a part in it, It's about mental health, it's about physical health, it's about relationship health, it's about self-health. I mean, how you think about yourself really matters. How you wake up and pursue your day really matters. So balance is always a work in progress. I think especially as entrepreneurs, especially as female entrepreneurs, especially as someone who feels, I don't want to, just pigeonhole female, someone who identifies as female, but as a deep thinker, as an emotional person, as a spiritual person, I think that balance is something we're always going to be pursuing because we're always growing. And especially as entrepreneurs, we always want our businesses to grow. We want our lives to grow. So balance is always going to be an upward track. And at each new level, you've got to find it and write it out for a little bit. So I love the pursuit of balance. I tend to think that once I've achieved that balance and I feel a real sense of peace and and I'm giving God's grace out in abundance every day in my daily life, then I tend to chase what's next. That's kind of an indicator to me that, okay, what else? I feel really convicted to go find what else I can have an impact and make an effect on, because I think balance is wonderful and you should always be in pursuit of it. Maybe not sit in it too long, because then what's the fun? Okay, business plan. I have written so many business plans. I have written, tens of business plans. I'm 29 years old, so that's quite a bit for my age, I think. In business plans, I think they can be anything from a page in your Apple Notes to the 32 pages I showed up with to the bank at 22 years old. I was really, really blessed to be surrounded by strong women growing up my whole life. So my grandmother was the first in our family to really make some generational money. I got to go to college without having any debt because of the work that my grandmother did. She got her nursing degree from TCU in 1972 while having 2 babies under 4 years old. And the year that she graduated, she actually lost her first one. So in the midst of all of that, she built a restaurant empire, a service industry empire in West Texas. She's catered all over the world. She catered for presidents, and she did that on her own and without a business plan. So while I have been lucky enough to grow up in her shadow amongst all of her friends and colleagues and the amazing, strong women that I'm surrounded by, I gained from them a sense of what's important, what's not important, how to act, how to stand up for yourself, and I really tried to apply that practically. And for me, that was business plans. That was writing things out, that was organizing things, that was putting things in a structure that I liked to see and it made sense to my mind to go back and visit. At 22 years old, I sat down for weeks and wrote a 32-page business plan for a restaurant that I thought that was a brilliant idea that I thought needed to open immediately in Abilene, and I took it to a bank representative. She was a female mentor of mine as well, and I was lucky enough to have her ear, and she gave me some great advice. It was not the best thing I've ever written by far, and she was very gracious, but it did not hurt to have that experience. It took me a few years before I went back, though, I will say. I'm guided by everything in my faith. I really believe that I'm not an expert on religion or faith by any means, but I do know that God's purpose for us is to each have a purpose. And I think that mine is to love people well. And I try to do that every single day. I try to do that in my business. I truly believe that business can be a vehicle for the good that you want to see in the world. Money means freedom, so the freedom to do what you want, to pursue the thoughts and the actions that you want, to pursue the people that you want to work with. So money isn't everything, but business does give you the freedom to create the money to do the things that you're really passionate about. And there's highs and lows in that always, and my faith is something that without it I couldn't do anything, especially not in business. I had a great grandmother that made sure I was in church every single Sunday, that made sure that I was baptized when I was ready, and that was Easter Sunday when I was 9 years old. And since then I felt like every single day God's called me to show up and love people well, and honestly, y'all, that's led to some amazing opportunities for me. I think faith is emotional because it's something that we don't see. It's something that's inside of ourselves, and it's really like God's gift to us. And so I think I'm so proud of what I've done. I'm so proud of my female colleagues at Abilene, but at the end of the day, we're nothing without our faith and the convictions that wake us up every day. Okay. Do I have any regrets? Yes, absolutely. No, there are things that I wish I could do over. There are meetings that I wish I had acted differently in, that I had said something differently in. There have been multiple nights where I lose sleep because there are things that I want to do over every single day. So I guess I never make the same mistake twice. So that's one thing where I do have things that I regret and I wish I could do over. But I also know that I grow rapidly because I really try hard to not make the same mistake twice. So yeah, there are things that still keep me up at night. There are opportunities that I know that I've missed because of whatever it is, whatever it was that I missed the opportunity for. I learned from it, and I absolutely didn't make the same mistake the next time that opportunity or something similar came by. Multitasking is crucial. This question came out of how do you juggle everything that it takes to be a young entrepreneur, and how do you do it all in a day? Multitasking. If you are not the type of person that can multitask well, then find someone to be your second hand that can. I think we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's absolutely okay. I don't think there's one type of personality that should be an entrepreneur by any means. That would be awful. There's so much space in the entrepreneurial space, so we need all of us. And if you are not the type of person who can multitask, then I'm sure you are a brilliant creative being, because most of you creatives and artists are very focused and are very zoned in on what you're doing. So find someone who can really pay attention to the things that you can't while you're focused and zoned in. Find someone that you trust, that has similar ambition and goals and faith. Find someone who will give you constructive criticism, who tells you no and yes. Hopefully in the same sentence a lot of the time. You need those people who will give you reasons to think and push you forward. So multitasking is the key. That's how you juggle everything. There's a million balls in the air at all times, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you're not that type of person, really I thrive on having a lot of balls in the air. My ADHD diagnosis, I think is a gift in that way. And I hope that those of you that struggle with it out there look at it the same way, because I'm just now getting there, and it's because I've got so many beautiful blessings in my life, and I'm keeping them all up in the air, and I'm realizing that that's how I like to do things. That's how my brain's wired. So those of you that aren't, find your ADHD best friend and have them keep you organized. Remaining relevant. How do you remain relevant, especially in the business community, especially now when all the technology and information is swirling around us at such a rapid speed? I can honestly say I don't think about this question often. I hardly ever think about this question. I'm 29 years old now. I started really in a leadership level. I started working at the ground level. My grandmother's restaurant's very, very young, but I started in a leadership level at 23 years old, and I think this question was more important to me than how to stay relevant. I branched out and started my own marketing business probably because of this question, out of working for my grandmother as her general manager of her restaurant industry for 2 years, because I didn't know how to stay relevant as a small business, and I couldn't do it all. I had 4 shifts. I had a team of about 105 people to manage at that time. We had events and caterings and in-restaurant service and bartendings and all kinds of awesome and fun things, but just doing doesn't keep you relevant. So I branched out and started my own business. Yeah, really based on this question. I learned quickly that staying relevant is not what makes you money. I had to stop and look around and ask, who did I want to be relevant to? And why did I want to be relevant? And I think once I figured out that there are some nuances to how to stay relevant, then I haven't thought about it much since. I wake up and chase things that I feel really passionate and on fire about. I wake up and work with people. I seek out people that I think have good ideas and good intentions. Intent matters, and I think that's probably the bottom line in staying relevant. Intent matters. And it's crucial. Marketing is a multi-billion-dollar business for a reason. So we all need to be relevant and in front of eyeballs to make our money, to do our good. But just don't ever forget in your pursuit to stay relevant and grow your business that intent matters. And I think if you can keep that in mind, then staying relevant shouldn't be a problem for you. I wish you all the luck in the world. 2020 is a year that has not been kind to many of us, but those of us that have faith know that it will absolutely be okay in the end. So hang in there until it is, and I wish you all the best. Oh.